everybody, it's Paula here from Craftables, and I'm just going to show you how to do our layout from this last week gone. This is the layout here. We've got a bit of sparkle and bling on there and a bit of embossing as well, so we've got a little bit of white embossing powder on there as well. So if you have purchased the kit, that will be done onto your paper there. So if you've purchased the kit from us, all your embossing will be done on the top and the sides there like that. Okay, so let's get started. So this is your base paper here. So this has already been done for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim our white cardstock down so that it measures 4¼ across there and 6¼ down there. So this is going to be your 4x6 photo mat. So we're going to cut this out first because we want to just place it onto our layout like this, and we're going to trace around the outside of that, but we're going to make it about 1/4 inch bigger. So it doesn't need to be perfect. We're just going to roughly pencil line around it like that, really roughly. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. So it's about 1/4 inch bigger than the whole 4x6 photo mat there. So once we've done that, we're actually going to rip this little square out here. So I'm just going to, we don't need this middle piece, so you can be as rough as you like with that one there. So I'm just going to start cutting in the middle, and then I'm just going to use my thumb as a guide, and I'm just going to rip around where my pencil marks are. So just roughly rip around there. We can rub out any of the pencil marks if we need to. So just keep ripping around the outside there. And up this side. Okay, and just that last little bit along the top there. There we go. Alright, so we have that middle piece cut out, ripped out, so we do want it to be a bit bigger than our photo mat there, because we are going to put a piece of green behind there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to rub out any pencil marks that I've got left there. So my handy dandy rubber. Rub those out there, just so we can get rid of any of the pencil lines. Oops, sorry about that. Just down there as well. So if you don't have the kit and you want to reproduce this, we just make sure that we do our embossing on there first before we do any of the other stuff there. Okay, so there's our mat there for our photo. So now also we've got a coordinating green piece here, so I'm just going to cut that so it's a little bit bigger than my big square there. So I'm just going to put a pencil mark about there. Grab my tribber, and I'm just going to cut that down so it's a little bit longer than my opening. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip that over, and I'm just going to stick that down over the top of my opening there. So I'm just going to put a bit of tape right around the outside there. So I am doing it on the side that I want showing, so we're not doing it on the back this time. We're actually doing it on the front of the part of the colour that we want showing through the aperture in our layout. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this over the top of the cutout, the window in our layout there, like that. So that now when I flip it over, we now have that pretty green showing through the middle there. So now I can actually start putting my photo mat on. So this is the 4x6, the 4¼ by 6¼ so that you'll fit a 4x6 photo on there. So that's going to go right into the center. Just like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get my fingernail up underneath some of this ripped out piece, and I just want to roll it back a wee bit just so it gives it a real rough, vintagey sort of shabby chic look. So just rough it up so it's pushed back a wee bit and you can't see. There we go. So just roll it back a wee bit all around all 4 sides. Okay, now once that is done, we want to pop the the muslin around here. So far we've got our little aperture here. So this muslin I'm going to rough up really well with my hands. So in your kit, so I've just got a piece of muslin that's long enough to go right round the back and around the front. So I'm just going to cut off that edge there because I want to be able to fray it really well. So I don't want that seam edge there. Just going to cut that one off as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this into my hands and I'm going to really rough it up. Now, just really get in there and rub it around, be really rough with it. You don't need to be gentle at all, so we want to make it fray a wee bit. Okay, so really get in there and rub it around together. The harder and roughed up it is, the better it's going to look. So we really want this to be very shabby chic. Lots of cottony bits fluffing around there. Okay, I'm going to pull that a little bit so we've got more cotton coming out. So be rough. We don't want to be soft and gentle with this. We want to sorry, I'm going to really rough it up so we've got bits and stuff showing all over the place. So I'm just going to wrap that around the back now. And I'm just going to tie a knot on this bottom left hand side there. So you'd want to rough this up even more actually, because I haven't got a lot of time for the video. I'm just doing it pretty roughly there. So I'm just going to tie a knot, and then I'm just going to really pull this stuff apart here. There we go, because I really want it to look really messy and shabby chic on here. It's better. There we go, that's looking much better. Right, so that is our little fluffed up knot there. So on the back of this now, I'm just going to flip it over and I'm just going to put a bit of tape down there just so that we can keep that muslin in place and it doesn't move around too much. So I'm just going to put a strip of double-sided tape along there, or if you have normal tape you can use normal tape there. So I'm just going to leave it like that just to keep that muslin in place. Okay, so now we have come to doing our flower pieces here. So in your kit you'll have a sheet of flowers that you can cut any out that you want to there. So I've cut about five of my flowers out there, so I've cut those out. So and there's my 5th one. So if you have purchased the kit, you'll have this sort of box card sort of cardstock in there, so it's a little bit thicker than cardstock. And what I've done is I've just placed a bit of glue on the back of my flowers, and I've just stuck it down to this cardstock. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I want to raise these flowers up, and I also want to put some wet Kindy Glitz, which is a wet glitter glue, onto the top. Now because I'm putting a wet substance onto the paper, it tends to curl a little bit. So if I'm putting wet stuff on, I tend to like to layer my cutout stuff onto a bit of cardstock as well, just to give it an extra thickness so it doesn't curl so much. So I'm just sticking that onto there, and I'm just going to cut that out now. So if you wanted to, you could leave a little white border around there to give it a bit of like a die cut look to it. There we go. So this is going to give it some thickness, just to give it some more strength when we put that wet substance on later, which is the Kindy Glitz. Okay, so I have actually done all of these on the cardstock there, so they're ready to go on. So this one here I want to tuck. I'm just going to lift one of these sides up just a little bit, and I'm going to tuck that one under there like that. So I'm just going to put a bit of tape on the back. There we go. So I'm just popping that just a little bit underneath there like that. Now because I haven't got a photo to put on here, I'm not wanting to stick anything there, so I can tuck my photo in underneath later. Okay, so my biggest flower that I've got here, I want to go right over the top of the muslin. Now I've used foam tape because it's a bit stickier than normal tape, and it also raises it up a wee bit. Gives it a bit of dimension. So I'm just going to pop that right over the top of my muslin and give it a really good push down so that we get that foam sticking through the muslin. Okay, so one of my flowers is just going to go down in this corner a little bit underneath my muslin there. So again, I've put some foam tape on the back. And we're just going to pop it down in this corner here underneath the muslin just a little bit. Give that a good stick down as well. Okay, so the last two I'm going to pop up here. So I'm going to put a little one there, and that one's just going to over top there. Okay, so pop some foam tape on the back of those ones as well. And that one's just going to go over that one a little bit there. Beautiful. Now I've got a bit of a few feathers here that I wanted to pop onto my layout as well. These probably should have gone down before this one did, so I'm going to see if I can lift that one up. Okay. There we go. So before you put one of this flower down in the corner there, I'd suggest you put your feathers on first. So I'm just going to bunch up my feathers. I'm going to put a big blob of glue around here where I want my feathers to stick. And I'm just going to pop them in over the top of the glue like that. So while it's still wet, I'm now going to put my flowers back over the top, and I'm just going to cover over those feathers a little bit. So give it a good push down so that's nice and stuck there. Beautiful. So we've got a few bits of bling. So if you want to grab some bling, I'm just going to do them in little random spots on my page, and I like to do them sort of in groups of 3-ish so that you've got a nice sort of I don't know, strategy to it a little bit, I guess. So I've got those there. I'm going to pop the couple down here. And a couple more down this bottom corner. There we go. Okay, so there we have the bling on there as well. So just to add a bit more sparkle to it, I've got some of my Kindy Glitz here, which is the glitter glue, and it's the Crystalina one. So it's the clear one with that bit of a green tinge to it, and I'm just going to pop a little bit onto my flowers like that. Now I'm going to give that a little rub around with my finger just so that it spreads it out a wee bit and doesn't have those big bulky groupings of Kindy Glitz there. So just going to pop some more on, just rub it around with my finger again just to smooth it out, because I didn't want big lumps of Kindy Glitz on there. I just wanted like a soft glitter to it. There we go. So when that dries, it'll just have a nice shimmer to it. Oops, we're running out of Kindy Glitz. No, running out of Kindy Glitz. That can't happen. Okay. There we go. So that is our layout for the week. So we've got some feathers on there, some embossing. I've embossed the title there. So this corner here, you could do some journaling in there. You could do a bit of journaling down there. If you want to add a bigger title, you could pop it there, or even just going a little bit over top of your photo on that corner there. So that is our layout. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give it a try. So if you want to do different different papers, go right ahead. We'd love to see what you do. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you next week. Bye.